It was nearly morning when you realized no one had slept. The night passed in a haze of questions and silence. You sat on the edge of the couch, still holding the now-cold tea Sunoo had given you. It had all been too much, the gate, the glowing symbols, the voice that somehow knew your name. And these boys, these neighbors, who were clearly more than they appeared to be. Jay was pacing slowly near the window, keeping his eyes on the fog still lingering outside. Heeseung stood at the kitchen counter, flipping through an old book without saying a word. The others were scattered around the room, quiet, watching you in intervals like they weren't sure how to explain what came next. You finally broke the silence. You said I've been here before. What did you mean by that? Sunghoon looked up from where he was leaning against the wall. It's hard to explain. Not everything in this world is linear. Okay, don't get all philosophical on me now. I just need a straight answer. Jungwon sat down across from you and leaned forward. There are certain cycles. Some souls return to places they've been before, whether they remember or not. You're one of them. You were tied to the gate in the past. That tie never broke. It just waited. You exhaled slowly, absorbing his words. So I'm supposed to believe I'm some kind of reincarnated gatekeeper or something? You're not a gatekeeper, Heeseung said. You're something different. The gate doesn't react to just anyone. But it reacted the second you stepped into that house. You glanced at the window. Your house was just next door. Harmless. Normal. And yet, what happened the last time? You asked quietly. If I've been here before, how did it end? ENHYPEN answered from the staircase, his voice unusually serious. Everyone died. The room went still. Your fingers tightened around the mug. What? No one could stop what came through, he continued. The last person tied to the gate didn't survive. And the 7 before us weren't enough. You stared at him. 7 before you? Jake nodded. We're not the first. We inherited the guardianship when the last group failed. The gate resets the timeline, chooses new players. But the story always begins the same way. Someone moves into the house, the gate wakes up, and things start to fall apart. That's not comforting, you muttered. Sunoo sat beside you again, his eyes soft. But this time, it's different. You're not alone. You couldn't argue with that. As strange as they all were, they hadn't hurt you. In fact, they seemed more concerned about your safety than their own. You hadn't known them for more than a day, and yet, something about them already felt familiar. The clock on the wall ticked to 6:07 a.m. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from outside, metal against concrete. You and the boys jumped to your feet. Jay threw open the front door, and all of you rushed out. Across the street, your mailbox lay in the middle of the road, completely crushed. But that wasn't what made your skin crawl. Painted on the pavement, in thick black strokes, was a giant symbol, one of the same runes you saw in the basement. It hadn't been there the night before. What the hell? You whispered. Heeseung moved ahead slowly, eyes scanning the area. It's marking territory. Something came through already? Jake asked. Jungwon knelt beside the rune. Or it's trying to warn us. This wasn't meant for humans to see. You looked around the neighborhood. The sun was starting to rise, but no one else was outside. No curtains moved, no doors opened. It was like the entire block was asleep, except for the 7 boys and you. We need to erase it, Heeseung said. Before it spreads. You stepped closer. What do you mean, spreads? Jay answered, standing behind you. If left unchecked, the symbols become gateways themselves. Little ones. Small enough for whispers, visions, and eventually, creatures. Sunghoon was already spraying water on the mark, scrubbing it with a towel, but the ink didn't fade. It's not paint, he muttered. It's burning into the ground. A gust of wind blew through the street, and for a second, the shadows seemed to twist, stretching along the asphalt like something was crawling just beneath it. You backed up instinctively. I don't like this, you said. I don't like any of this. ENHYPEN came up beside you. No one does. But we can't stop now. Jake handed him a small pouch from his hoodie pocket. Niki opened it and poured a handful of crushed blue powder into his palm, then scattered it over the symbol. It sizzled. Smoke rose. Slowly, the mark began to fade, piece by piece. You watched in awe. What is that stuff? Pulverized lapis mixed with moon salt, Jay explained. It's rare. And it only works when the gate's influence is still weak. You stared at the smoke rising from the street. And what happens when it's not weak anymore? Heeseung looked at you, eyes steady. Then we run. Back inside, the mood had shifted. Everyone was more alert. Sunoo handed out small charms to each of you, little pendants tied with thin silver wire. These won't protect you from everything, he said, but they'll keep your mind clear. The gate likes to twist things. Memories, dreams, reality. You accepted it and tied it around your wrist. So what now? We wait for the next sign. Not quite, Jungwon said. We go looking for it. Jay unrolled a map across the dining table. It looked old, yellowed, with red and blue ink scrawled all over it. This is the original layout of the neighborhood, he said. Before they built all these houses, there were ruins here. Something older. The gate wasn't built accidentally. It was sealed here on purpose. You leaned in, scanning the lines and symbols. Are you saying someone wanted it to be found? No, Heeseung said. They wanted it to be forgotten. Jake pointed to a spot just a few blocks away. There's a trail behind the school. It used to lead to a well. It was covered up years ago. We think it might be another fragment of the gate's seal. And if it's breaking, Jungwon added, we need to reinforce it. Sunghoon looked at you. You don't have to come. It's dangerous. You shook your head. If I'm part of this, I need to understand. I need to see it for myself. So you all packed up. Heeseung carried the book. Jay had a small case of tools. Niki strapped a dagger-shaped charm to his belt. You weren't sure how much of it was real protection and how much was habit, but every step felt heavier as you followed them through the neighborhood. The sun was higher now, but the light felt wrong. Pale. Filtered, like something stood between you and the sky. No birds. No breeze. Just stillness. You reached the trail, half overgrown with weeds and vines. The deeper you walked, the colder it got. The air turned damp. You reached a clearing where a circle of stones marked the ground, and in the center, a wide slab of cracked stone. That's it, Jay said. The boys moved quickly, forming a loose circle around it. Heeseung opened the book and began chanting something low, ancient, rhythmic. The ground beneath the slab pulsed once, like a heartbeat. Then again. You stepped back. Something's moving down there. And then, from beneath the stone, a voice rose again. The same voice you heard in the basement. This time louder. Clearer. 1 seal breaks. 6 remain. The air split with a sudden crack of thunder. The slab shattered. From below, a clawed, shadowy hand reached up. You screamed. But before it could pull itself free, Niki lunged forward, driving the dagger-shaped charm into the stone. Light exploded from the impact, blinding white and searing hot. The hand recoiled, vanishing in a burst of smoke. The ground sealed itself again, this time with a glowing sigil burning into the earth. Everyone was silent, catching their breath. Jake turned to you. That wasn't supposed to happen. Heeseung looked at the map again. 1 seal is broken. But that wasn't the gate. Jay's eyes narrowed. That was a messenger. You stood frozen, heart pounding. A messenger for what? No one answered. But deep in the woods, behind the trees, something moved. Watching. Waiting.